Good Thursday evening, everybody. It's Dave at PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com, and it's May 18th, 2023. I'm going to go backwards today. So I'm going to start with our automated trading systems, which are explained in the website I just had up. So it's under the algorithm trading tab. We go through, kind of explain how this works. Some of the stuff is on the actual home page as well. So this is the Dow futures, and these are quarterly contracts. And I had somebody ask me today, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up even though it's a little bit backwards. They say, how do you know when the quarterly contract changes? This is the best way I've found. There might be some better ways, and if anybody's got any, email them in at Dave at PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com. Anyways, these are the actual futures contracts right here. So there's the YM M23, which this is Thinkorswim, and the system that we automatically trade out of is TradeStation, and they still use YM M23 because we're trading a futures contract. So it doesn't matter what trading system you're working in, but TradeStation's the one that we program to run automatically. There are a few others, but I haven't learned how to program in those, so doubt I will. So anyways, this is the net result of our trading for the quarter, and you can see it's a lot of chop. There's been a lot of chop this quarter, especially in the Dow. And this is what it looks like on the next slide for 6 months. So from 11/17 until 5/18. So it's still, you can see the chop, but the bottom line is we want an uptrend. So we want to go from a low to a higher low to a higher low. I did recalibrate this recently to get a better uptrend, but it's still, and I think I showed it at the time, if you lay one against the other, all you're doing is missing some noise. So this thing actually trades less and is more efficient, and that's the bottom line, than what I was trading with in the past. So then we have, so anyways, this is the recent price action. Actually, literally today, I think, is this. So we had a little bit of down action in this particular instrument, but that's why we trade three. This is the Russell, and that's the RTY. It happens to be M23. M is the month. I don't even get into necessarily caring what their nomenclature is. I just try to match and come up with the same thing from, that Thinkorswim is using, because when they change is when I look to change over here, because I have to manually change that contract over here. So anyways, the Russell actually popped nicely over the last few days to the upside, and then literally yesterday and today, I think those are the down, or actually no, it didn't. Yesterday it didn't trade at all, and then today has one trade that's negative. So be it. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, on a longer term basis, to have a nicely upsloping equity curve. I mean, this is literally the equity and how it goes, along with the trading. This is 6 months worth, so that's 11/17 to 5/18. And if you throw 12 months up here, it looks even better. This is the NASDAQ, which took a pause through this whole period right there. It was just chopping sideways, and then between today and yesterday, I don't know if that's all of today and yesterday, but I mean, that's a nice pop back up in our equity curve. And obviously we had a down move or negative trade in there as well. So I could show the list of trades. I didn't actually snapshot those for this, and then this is what it looks like on a 6-month basis, and it looks better on a 12-month basis. And so that this is the uh, this is what you're going for with algorithmic trading. If I could actually even out some of that noise in these zones right here, that'd be great. But the other thing is I don't want to over optimize. That's something that they talk about in algorithmic trading, which um, these are not over optimized. So at least not in my opinion. All right, so that's that, and then let's actually go to stockcharts.com, look at the bullish percent indexes, because I said I'm going backwards. So this is a measure of basically bullishness in the market, or the lack thereof. The Dow Jones Industrial bullish average, or bullish percent index, didn't move today. So right now, 46.66% of the stocks in the Dow, which there's only 30 of them, the Dow Industrial Average, 46.66% of them are in on a buy signal, as far as what a point and figure chart looks like. So about 50-50, pretty much split. The NYA up by 2.09% today, and 45.06% of them are on a buy signal. There's a lot more stocks in the NYA, something of like 7, 8, 9,000 stocks. I probably ought to get a number on that one of these days, just for the sake of knowing, but it really doesn't matter. The transports didn't move. The NASDAQ, it moved up by 2.04% today, and 39.14% of the stocks in the NASDAQ are on a point and figure buy signal. And we have to get to 42 for this thing to reverse to a new column of X's. So we're at 39.14, roughly 3 points away. The SPX, the S&P 500, went up by 4.33% today, and 53% of the stocks in the S&P 500, 53% of 500 are on a point and figure buy signal. And then some of my favorites to just watch are the OEX, which is the S&P 100, and it actually went down by 3.57% today, and 54% of them are on a buy signal. And the NDX, this is the NASDAQ 100, and the NASDAQ's been moving the best out of everything anyway, even like with the actual stock. That's also the case with the underlying. This moved up by 6.56% today, and 65% of the NASDAQ stocks are on a point and figure buy signal. Now what we got to watch for, it's very common, is we get up above 70, that's only 30% are left to be getting into a buy signal. And then it reverses back below 70, we tend to get a pretty good sell-off. Alright, that's that for all that, and let's go to the actual charts, where we got I opened that up too much, I think, but I can see if I can do this. Mushing it around. So the SPX went up by 0.9% today, or 39 points. The Dow Jones Industrials went up by 115, and that's noteworthy, and I'm going to pop into that one just to look at it. The Russell, I'm sure, went up, but they always zero it out at the end of the day. There's got to be a reason for that I don't know about. And then the NASDAQ went up by 1.5% today. So I'm going to buzz through. By the way, these futures contracts up here, these little bit of moves right now are actually overnight action. So you can see tomorrow's candle is starting to form already. That starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when the futures start to trade again. And yeah, that's when the new candle starts to form. So I'm going to try to stick to just the indexes so we can look at a clearer thing without the overnight action. You can see a nice big up move there today, and a buy signal on the S&P 500. That's a true Momo buy signal, by the way. That's it's my main indicator for basically, are we overbought or oversold, which is what the upper and lower zones are there. And then are we on a sell signal or a buy signal as far as the arrows go. And then we got the little blue arrows and the little yellow arrows that are really calling out. And I talked about this recently. I decided to stuff the Bollinger Band and Keltner channel squeeze into the middle of this so I could see what it's doing along with this. But that's when we start to get sell signals that might matter on with the dark blue arrows, and then we also get buy signals that might matter with the yellow arrows. And when I actually think it's best is when they come together. So that's my opinion. Alright, nothing's perfect, by the way, in the markets. You can't, I mean, at least nothing I've seen. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So that's the S&P, and it popped nicely higher today. This is the Dow, and the reason I think this is important is because the Dow ended up closed up 115 points. At one point today, it was down just as much, I think, thereabouts. I saw it in the middle of the day, just checking on my phone, and you know, it looked like it could have been a sell-off, especially since we have red candles here. You know, I'm not really looking at that during the day. I'm just looking at see what the general action is of the markets when I'm running around doing a regular day job. But anyways, that's significant. It got back up above the moving average here, and we do have a yellow indication on the True Momo indicator, and we've got something setting up. Now on the weekly over here, which isn't finished yet, we do have a buy signal on the candle, so take that for what it's worth. And by the way, these painted zones in here, those are just my marks for where I've seen price action come from and go to, and they tend to, you know, act as a floor and a ceiling, and once you break up through it, old resistance becomes new support, and that's kind of an adage in the market. So the Russell, let's look at that one. Okay, so we're taking off nicely in the Russell. That doesn't mean we can't hit overhead resistance. So we can, well, I'm not going to, yeah, I'll do it, why not? So I take a recent high, or I try to do the high of the candle. Let's see if I can do it. Pop it right there. Or I'm sorry, the high of the body, not the actual wick. That's just what I like to do. And tie it to, so we've technically broken, I mean, all the way back here we broke, but then went back down. We broke there and went back down. We broke there and went back down. Now if I tie it to there, which is the top of yesterday's candle, that's a breakout that, yeah, sure, can it go back down? You bet it can. But we're starting to see some things pick up like that. That's could be a significant break. It'll be more significant if we get like a weekly break over here on the left hand side. So something to watch, just because the markets tend to go up against invisible lines of resistance that are diagonal and horizontal for what it's worth. I mean, I can draw a line. I don't want to bore everybody with this, but it's kind of important. Oops, not that one. A price level, and you can draw a line and drag it around. Like, this is how I come with these zones. So, I mean, if that thing gets broken through, which would come up to these target dots, then you'd probably break through it and then come back to it, and if it actually holds as support, we could be going significantly higher. And that's on the Russell, and the Russell is, you really want to follow it. If it's if going higher for any meaningful amount of time, then the market should follow it. And if it's going lower for any immediate or meaningful amount of time, then you want to follow it that way, even if it's just to go to cash. It's similar to the transports, at least right now it is, and sometimes they do decouple because they're not the same things. But there's an old adage in the market that says that if the industrials, which is the Dow, if the industrials are building it, then the transports are shipping it. And if they're not doing that at the same time, which again, let's look at the. In fact, that's probably been the drag on the market. If we look at the industrials, they were down, but they're starting to come up. The transports are down still. They don't look like they're coming up anytime soon, but they could all of a sudden start popping as well. All right, and I think, well, let's look at oil because I don't think it's been a bit since I looked at oil. Of course, popping over to the futures contract might make us stall in the technology. Please hold. All right, so we're getting some bullishness looking coming into oil. However, this signal by itself, it could be something to get started with, but you'd want to watch it like a hawk and get the heck back out of it again if it starts to fail, because there's nothing else here that's really backing it up for a big up move. Now, if we get a big up move here and these start to turn green in the middle here, and we get a buy signal over here on the weekly chart because our last one was a real major sell signal, then all of a sudden we could get a nice move up here and back into this 82 area. I'd look for trying to take profit above, just below that actually, take profit at these targets, that type of thing. So, and I think that's enough for tonight, guys. I hope it helps with everybody, and we will talk to you for the weekend review.